Hi, I am Dr. Abhishek Joshi, and in this lecture we are going to discuss about the pulse shaping. So what is pulse shaping? So pulse shaping is simply in digital communication we are using the rectangular pulses, okay, which for transmitting our data. But if you are using the rectangular pulses, what happens is that the Fourier transform in the time the Fourier transform of the pulse pt in the frequency domain, it will be the sinc function, and the sinc function, as we know, it will occupy for the entire frequency range. So it is occupying the entire frequency range means it will occupy the entire bandwidth, that is BW. So that will be the entire bandwidth. So if you are able to shape the pulse such that this bandwidth can be limited, because we want to limit the bandwidth. Why we want to limit the bandwidth? Because practically the channels are band limited, so we cannot transmit a infinite bandwidth data through the channel. So that is a limit. So that is the concept of pulse shaping given by Nyquist, that how we can shape the pulse such that our signals are band limited. So the PSD, that is power spectral density S/F of the digital signal YT, can be controlled by the choice of line code by P of F, the pulse shape. The PSD, that is S/F, is strongly and directly influenced by the pulse shape, that is P of T, because S/F contains the term that is Pf square. So as we know, that is power spectral density S/F is given by, that is P of F in the Fourier transform whole square divided by T, where the limit for T will be infinite, for the infinite duration we are talking about. So in comparison to the nature of the line code, the pulse shape is more direct and potent factor in terms of shaping the PSD, that is the power spectral density of S/F. So a simple half width rectangular pulse, that is PT, for the sake of the illustration is used. The bandwidth of S/F is infinite, since PF has infinite bandwidth. So as we have discussed, that will be occupying, if you are using the rectangular pulses, if you are using the half width rectangular pulses, we will be having the infinite bandwidth, because the Fourier transform of the rectangular pulse is a sinc function which is occupying the entire frequency range. But it is found that the essential bandwidth S/F was finite. So for example, most of the power of the bipolar signal, when we are talking about the case of the bipolar line coding, contained within the essential band, that is from 0 to RP. Note how the PSD is small but is non-zero in the range, that is F is greater than the rate of the bit, or you can say bit rate in hertz. So therefore we have such a single signal is transmitted over the channel, that is bandwidth having RB. RB is the bandwidth of the signal. A significant portion of the spectrum is transmitted, but a small portion of the spectrum is suppressed. So spectral distortion tends to spread the pulse dispersion, that is a spreading of the pulse beyond its allotted time interval TB will cause it to interfere with the neighboring pulse. This means, so if we have the spreading of the pulse, for example, we have the data 101 and we have the pulse like in the shape 101. Now if there is a spreading, there is a possibility of error, as we can see here, for this bit duration. So the spreading of the pulse beyond its allotted time TB will cause it interfere and neighboring pulse. This is known as inter-symbol interference. So this is inter-symbol interference. For example, we have consecutive ones, and these consecutive ones are overlapped, and due to the overlapping of the pulse, it is known as ISI, or inter-symbol interference. So ISI is not noise. ISI is caused by non-ideal channels that are non-distortionless over the entire signal bandwidth. In the case of half-width rectangular pulse, the rectangular bandwidth is strictly speaking infinite. So we have infinite bandwidth when we are talking about it. So ISI, as a manifestation of the channel distortion, can cause error in pulse detection. So this ISI is causing the pulse detection if it is large enough. To resolve the difficulty of ISI, let us review briefly our problem. So what is the problem? We need to transmit the pulse train, which is given by the kth pulse, that is AK, having the strength, or you can say the amplitude of the pulse, and this is our pulse, that is Pt minus k times of Tb, and the channel has a finite bandwidth because the channel are band limited. So we have the finite bandwidth. We are required to detect the pulse amplitude, that is Ak, correctly, that is without ISI, without intersymbol interference. We have to correct it. So we have considered the time limited pulses. Since such pulse cannot be band limited, part of their spectra is suppressed by the band limited channel. So this causes the pulse distortion. So due to this, there is a pulse distortion if we are limiting our bandwidth, or so this rectangular pulse will not be a rectangular pulse, this will be a distorted pulse. Okay, so if you are limiting our band, so spreading out, and consequently we will be having intersymbol interference. So if we are transmitting the rectangular pulse through the band limited channel, our pulse will be distorted, okay, because it is acting as a band pass filter. So how we can try to resolve? We can try to resolve this difficulty by using the pulses that are band limited to begin with, so we can transmit intact over the band limited channel. But for the band limited channel, band limited pulses cannot be time limited. So if you are limiting the band of the sinc function, if you are limiting the band, then what will happen? The time duration of the pulse will increase for an infinite duration of the time. To eliminate the ISI, that is intersymbol interference, Nyquist proposed 3 different criteria. So Nyquist proposed that how we can eliminate intersymbol interference. The first one, criteria for pulse shaping, where the pulses are allowed to overlap. So Nyquist says there is no issue that pulses can overlap, but how this happens? So it is explained. So yet they are shaped by cos 0, or you can say controlled ISI. Another technique is the controlled ISI. First is the 0 ISI, next is the controlled ISI, making the instant, and thus by limiting the non-interference required for the decision making instant, we eliminate the need of the pulse to be totally non-overlapping. So in the first method, so now we are discussing about the first method, that the Nyquist achieves 0 ISI by choosing the pulse that are non-zero amplitude at its center and 0 amplitude at t is equals to n times of Tb, where Tb is the separation between successive transmitted pulses. So we have this Pt that is given by 1 and 0 at the time instant, that is t equals to 0, and at the time, that is plus minus n times of Tb. So we have the time duration, or you can say the time duration of the pulse Tb is given by 1 by Rb, that is a bit rate. So as we know this relation, I have explained it earlier also. So as we can see, the Nyquist proposed that all the pulses are overlapping, but we can see that at the sampling instant we have the maximum energy. For this, we have the sampling instant. For the first pulse, we have the maximum energy, second pulse, third pulse, fourth pulse. So if we have the sinc function given by, that is for the time period, 1 by minus 1 by Rb, minus 2 by Rb, minus 3 by Rb. For the positive time instant, 1 by Rb, 2 by Rb, 3 by Rb for this pulse. So these are allowed to overlap according to the Nyquist criteria, but at the sampling instant we have the 0 strength of the first pulse, or you can say the neighboring pulse. So for if you are talking about the first, second, third, fourth pulse, the second pulse is having the maximum energy at the sampling instant Tb, and at sampling instant Tb, the first pulse and third pulse are having the 0 crossing. So that is the advantage of using the Nyquist criteria for 0 ISI. So when we are using this pulse, we have the rectangular in terms in the frequency domain, the Fourier transform in the frequency domain. So if we are using the sinc function in the time domain, so what will happen in the frequency domain? We will be having the band limited response. So band limited response with the amplitude 1 by Rb, and it is ranging from minus 0.5 Rb to plus 0.5 Rb. So a pulse satisfying the criteria, that is causing the 0 ISI at all the remaining pulses centers or signaling instant as shown in the figure which I have shown in the slide. So as we can see, at sampling instant 0 Tb, 2 Tb, 3 Tb, only the pulse which we are having, that is for the particular pulse we have the energy, the neighboring pulse are having the strength 0. So where we show the several successive pulses, that is at t is equals to 0, TB, 2 TB, 3 TB, we have the bit rate 1 by, that is TB equals to 1 by RB. For the sake of convenience, we show all the pulses to be positive. Now the transmission, that is RB, we know the transmission rate, or you can say the bit rate RB, bits per second, requires a theoretical minimum bandwidth. Theoretical minimum bandwidth is RB by 2 Hertz. It will be nice if we pulse satisfying the Nyquist criteria had this minimum bandwidth, that is RB by 2 Hertz. So there exists one and only one pulse which meets the Nyquist criteria and has a bandwidth that is given by RB by 2 will be the Nyquist criteria. So this pulse PT, so pulse PT is given by the sinc function, that is sinc of n times RBT, and has its property, that is a sinc function pi RBT, that is having the value 1 and 0. So at the sampling at t equals to 0, we have the maximum energy. At other sampling instant, that is plus minus n times TB, the value of the sinc function will be equal to 0, and we have the bit rate, or you can say we can relate the time duration of the bit with the bit rate, that is 1 by RB. So Fourier transform of the sinc function. So in the time domain, we are representing our pulse with a sinc pulse. So in the frequency domains, it will be a rectangular pulse, rectangular response, or you can say the P of f will be 1 by RB pi of f by RB. So this scheme shows we can attain the theoretical limit of the performance by the sinc pulse. So this is the theoretical approach. Theoretically, we can have the time limited, or you can say the band limited pulses. So unfortunately this pulse is impractical, but we have to wait for infinite time. Although the pulse will be, you can say, the band limited, but we have to wait for the infinite time, so that is not practically possible. So because it starts from minus infinite and it will end up to plus infinite, so we have to wait for infinite time to generate. Any attempt to truncate it will increase the bandwidth. So if we are using the ideal pulse, it is RB by 2. So if we are truncating it, so it definitely the bandwidth will increase. So but even if the pulse were realizable, it will have the undesirable feature, namely it decays slowly at a rate of 1 by t. So this is the disadvantage, that there is a decay that is given by 1 by t. So this can be proved as, so the pulse in the time domain is Pt, the Fourier transform is given by P of f, where the bandwidth of P of f in the range of RB by 2 to RB. The desired pulse Pt satisfy equation if we have the sample Pt every TB seconds by multiplying Pt, that is a pulse of del t, del Bt, that is a bit duration, and impulse strain. Then because of the property, all the samples except the one at the origin are 0. So thus the sampled signal Pt is given by the average pulse, that is Pt, that is Pt multiplied by del Tb, that is given by del of Tb. So then according to the 0 ISI Nyquist criteria, that is first criteria, we have the pulse given by the decaying pulse, and this pulse is representing the cost function. So that's why we are also calling it as a raised cosine spectrum. Okay, so this is in the frequency domain, so we are calling it as a raised cosine spectrum, and here we can see this is the ideal bandwidth, that is RB by 2. So RB by 2 is the ideal bandwidth, and again we have the additional bandwidth, the additional fractional bandwidth is given by f of x, and here we can see the decay starts for the minus f of x. Okay, so there is a decay of the pulses in plus f of x and minus f of x. This is the ideal theoretical bandwidth, that is RB by 2. So here we can see if we have the multiple pulses, so these will overlap in the frequency domain, and here we can see the crossings of the pulses. So derivation of 0 ISI for the Nyquist first criteria we are discussing. So we know that the spectrum of the sampled signal P of t is 1 by Tb times the spectrum of Pt repeatedly periodically at the interval of the sampling frequency Rb. So we can write the Fourier transform. If we are taking the Fourier transform, what we can write, 1 by Tb summation n equals to minus infinite to plus infinite, and P f minus n times Rb equals to 1, or you can see bit rate Rb equals to 1 by Tb. So we can write summation n equals to minus infinite to infinite P of f minus n times Rb, that is equals to Tb for the bit duration. So consider the spectrum for the figure B over the range that is from 0 to RB, that is a range. Over this range only two terms we have, that is the pulse in the frequency domain, that is P of f, and the pulse that is given by Pf minus Rb in the summation equation involved. So we have the pulse that is P of f and P of f minus Rb, that is equals to the bit duration Tb. So it is ranging from 0 to Rb. Let's take the another variable x that is given by f minus Rb by 2, that is a theoretical limit bandwidth, and that is f. So we can represent our pulse in this form. So because here we have the pulse from 0 to and here we have Rb and this is Rb by 2. So we can represent it as, that is p x plus 0.5 Rb and the pulse x minus 0.5 Rb, because we have substituted x, the value of x here, the relation is f minus Rb by 2. So we have this x that is less than 0.5 Rb. So alternately we can write it as, that is pulse x plus Rb by 2 plus pulse x minus Rb by 2, that will be equal to the bit duration Tb, where we have the plus minus x is less than 0.5 Rb. So use of the conjugate symmetry property, we have the pulse that is Rb by 2 plus x and the pulse Rb by 2 minus x equals to Tb, and for the x less than 0.5 Rb. So here we can represent our Nyquist first criteria in terms of the raised cosine spectrum. We have to understand the notations. The notations are, here we are representing the height of the pulse in the frequency domain, it is given by 0 to Tb, and the bandwidth of the pulse, that is starts from 0 and it ends up to this point. Now theoretical bandwidth is up to only here. If we are considering the theoretical bandwidth, it is like this, but we are not having the theoretical bandwidth, we are having the practical case of the pulse. So it decays at a rate of 1 by t. So if it is decaying at a rate of 1 by t, so what will happen, we will have the excess bandwidth, and this excess bandwidth is given by f of x. So it is denoted here also, and the distance from this point to the point of alpha, it is x, and this is the maximum additional bandwidth. Here the decays start from, or you can say Rb by 2, that is the theoretical bandwidth, minus f of x, that is the excess bandwidth or additional bandwidth. So this is the maximum bandwidth of the pulse, okay, and here we have f of x. So we have the decay starts from Rb by 2 minus f of x and it end up to Rb by 2 plus f of x. So this is the concept of raised cosine spectrum. We will use this to derive the total bandwidth of the signal. So if we choose the P of f to be real valued and positive, then only P of f needs to satisfy, because P of f is real, and equation implies that is pulse Rb by 2 plus f of x and the pulse Rb by 2 minus f of x, that is equals to Tb, that is the bit duration. So hence P of f should be the form in the figure. This curves an odd symmetry about the set of the axes intersecting the alpha, where we have frequency that is given by Rb by 2. So note that this requires that is a pulse should be at 0.5 Rb, so it is given by 0.5 at the pulse at equals to 0. So the bandwidth in hertz, we can write the bandwidth, that is the total bandwidth. You can write bandwidth can be written as, that is the theoretical minimum bandwidth Rb by 2 plus f of x, that is the excess bandwidth. The same thing it is written here. So where f of x is the bandwidth in excess to the minimum bandwidth Rb by 2, so r will be the ratio in the excess bandwidth. So what we can write, so f of x, the excess bandwidth can be written as the r times, that you can say the rate at which the theoretical bandwidth decays, so Rb by 2. So we can write f is f of x, that is the theoretical limited bandwidth is r times Rb by 2, or we can write r as the excess bandwidth divided by the theoretical minimum bandwidth, that is Rb by 2. Okay, so we can write it as f of x by 0.5 Rb, or we can write r as twice of f of x into Tb, that is a bit duration, because 1 by Rb is Tb, that is for the single bit duration. So observe that the f of x cannot be larger than Rb by 2 for the range of r that is lying between 0 to 1. So if it is the rate at which it decays r equals to 0, then means we are having the theoretical bandwidth. If r is having some value, we will be having the excess bandwidth. So in terms of the frequency, the theoretical minimum bandwidth Rb by 2, the excess bandwidth is given by f, that is r times Rb by 2. So we can write the total bandwidth. Total bandwidth is the theoretical minimum bandwidth Rb by 2 plus the excess bandwidth, which is r times Rb by 2. So what will you get? That is we can take Rb by 2 common. So we will be having 1 plus Rb by 2. So as you can see, it is the same expression here. So we have the total bandwidth, which is 1 plus r, that is a roll-off factor. R is also known as the roll-off factor Rb by 2. So here we can see these are the pulse satisfying the Nyquist first criteria. So that is a solid curve. We have the theoretical pulse, that is f of x is equals to 0. So in this case we have f of x equals to 0, and here we can see r equals to 0. We don't have any roll-off factor because it is ideally straight curve. So roll-off factor is definitely 0. So the dash curve is showing that, so this is the dashed line which is showing that we have the some roll-off factor, and we have the excess bandwidth f of x given by Rb by 4, and the roll-off factor is given by 0.5. Now for the heavy dash line, this case, that is we have this f of x which is given by Rb by 2, and we have the roll-off factor r given by 1. So if r is equals to 1, we will occupying the entire bandwidth, or you can say the maximum bandwidth, that is from 0 to Rb. So that will be the bandwidth. We have the sinc function. So if we are talking about the theoretical bandwidth, where we have 0 excess bandwidth in the frequency domain, then we will be occupying the entire duration of the time. So this means it will occupy the infinite time. That's not practically possible. So this is simply the theoretical one. It is not practically possible. If we are talking about the light dashed line, this one where we have fx equals to Rb by 4, so we have the slightly this dashed line. Okay, so it's aimed up to here only. Okay, but when we are talking about the third case, we have the roll-off factor, that is r equals to 1. We are occupying the entire bandwidth from 0 to Rb. So it decays. So this sinc function decays very rapidly. So this is this function we are actually using. Practically we are not occupying the entire bandwidth, that is from 0 to Rb. So this constant r is also known as the roll-off factor, which I have explained in the previous slide, is also expressed in terms of the percentage. For example, the p of f, that is a pulse in the Fourier domain, is the Nyquist first criteria spectrum with a bandwidth that is 50% higher than the theoretical minimum. That is the roll-off factor r is given by 0.5, or you can say the roll-off factor is 50%. So that is we are using practically. So because Rb is lying between the range from 0 to 1, the bandwidth of p of f is restricted to the range that is from Rb by 2 to Rb hertz. The pulse, that is Pt, can be generated, that is in use of the impulse response of the filter that is having the transfer function p of f. So for this case, that p of f equals to 0, that is a frequency band, it violates the Pallas-Wiener's criteria, that is therefore unrealizable. So the vestigial roll-off characteristics is gradually, it gets more approximated by the practical filter, and the filter is given by p of f. So if we can write write in terms of the mathematics, we can see that this pulse is maximum. It's having the value 1 for this range. After after this point, it is start decaying from this point to this point. So the same range we are splitting in 3, and we are writing in terms of mathematics. So let's see. So we can see we have the maximum value 1 for the range of frequency, that is Rb by 2 minus f of x. Okay, that is below this range we have the value 1. From Rb by 2 minus f of x to Rb by 2 plus f of x, that is for this range it is given by the cosine function, or you have the roll-off factor, or it can be represented as 1 minus sine f minus Rb by 2 1 by 2. And beyond that, because it is stops here and it has the value 0, so it is having the value 0 at this point. So we have beyond this range Rb by 2 plus f of x, we don't have any pulse in the frequency domain, we have the value 0. So the case of the maximum value, that is f of x, that is rb by 2, that is r equals to 1, p of f is given by 1 by 2, 1 plus cos of pi f tb, and the rectangular pulse f by 2rb, and we have the cos square pi f tb by 2 and the rectangular function, that is f tb by 2. So this is the characteristics of raised cosine characteristics, because it represents the cos raised by its peak amplitude is known as the full cosine role of characteristics. So the inverse Fourier transform of this raised cosine spectrum in the time domain can be written as rb cos of pi rb t 1 minus 4 rb square t square sinc square pi rb t. So this one numerical based on the role of factor. So we can write, so determine the pulse transmission rate in terms of the transmission bandwidth bt and the role of factor r. So assume the Nyquist first criteria. So we can write the bandwidth, total bandwidth is given by the theoretical minimum bandwidth rb by 2 plus the axis bandwidth. Axis bandwidth is f of x. So we can substitute the axis bandwidth, this is rb by 2 plus r times rb by 2. So we can write the total bandwidth, that is bt, is given by 1 plus r rb by 2. So that will be the total bandwidth. So we have related the role of factor with the total bandwidth. So this is very simple numerical. So we can have simply denoted r equals to twice of twice by 1 plus r, that is the total bandwidth. Then it is r is ranging from 0 to 1. So this is very important point, and this role of factor is 1 by t cube. Another numerical again is based on the Nyquist first criteria. Binary data of rate, so the rate is given, rb is given to us, that is 1 mbps to transmit using the Nyquist criteria pulses p omega. The frequency we have f1 and f2. So f1 and f2, here we can see we have the total bandwidth that is given by f2. So f2 is of the spectrum is adjustable, and the channel available for the transmission of this data have the bandwidth of 700 kilohertz. So f2 is already given to you, that is 700 kilohertz, or this is the bandwidth of the signal. So this is already given, f2 is given, total bandwidth is given. We have to find the role of factor. So how we can find the role of factor? We know that rb is given, so we can find rb by 2. So we know the formula, that is bandwidth bt is given by 1 plus r rb by 2, and we have the value of rb by 2. Rb by 2 can be written as 1 mbps, so 1000 kbps divided by 2. So we have 500. Okay, so we have 500, and total bandwidth is given to us as 700. So 700 mega kilohertz, 700 kilohertz, 1 plus r, and rb by 2 is 500 kilohertz. Okay, so we can divide, it will be 7 by 5 equals to 1 plus r. So r can be written as 7 by 5 minus 1, that is 2 by 5, or the role of factor is 0.4. So we are getting the role of factor, that is equals to 0.4. So we can find the axis bandwidth. The axis bandwidth is given by f of x, that is r times rb by 2. Rb by 2 is 500, so 500 into r, and value of r is 0.4. So 0.4 into 500. So we are getting 0.4 into 500 will be 200 kilohertz. So we are getting the axis bandwidth of 200 kilohertz. So we can find the value of f1. F1 is simply given by rb by 2 minus f of x. So rb by 2 minus f of x. So that is rb by 2 is 500 from here, and minus f of x is 200. So it will be 300 kilohertz. So these are the values of f1, role of factor r, and f2. So this is the numerical which we have solved based on the raised cosine spectrum. So here we have discussed about the first criteria, that is the Nyquist first criteria. In our subsequent lecture we are going to discuss about the Nyquist second criteria of the controlled ISI. Thank you.